What's going on, main characters? It's your boy Talks Too Much with Third Party Studios. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are talking Snow White. The movie comes out very soon, and Rachel Zegler has not been able to avoid the spotlight, and it's not been bringing good publicity for Disney. We're going to talk about that and much more in today's video, so with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into it. Hold on, intro. It's intro time. Shush, everyone shut up! All right, we're going to move on to our nenext story. We are going to be talking about Snow White. So the movie comes out very soon. We have something to look forward to, I suppose. But some of the most recent news, Disney reportedly doesn't know what to do with out-of-control Rachel Zegler as Snow White promotion falls apart. This show has not had, it's not falling apart now. This show has never, not a single moment of its public appearance or notification. Like, no one has ever known anything about this show and maintained a positive view of it in any moment.
It's a movie.
Not the point. Absolutely not the point. But there's
you said show like 4 times, so I feel like I had to correct
fair enough, but no one has ever maintained a positive perspective on what this movie could look like.
This thing was dead from the get-go, and they've held on to it for so long.
Remember the first promotional thing we saw of it? It was the dwarf, like the 7 diversity hires.
The 7 mythical creatures or whatever. Yeah.
That was the start.
No, that's actually part of the movie. There's those characters, and then there's also the dwarves. Apparently,
are you and I talking about the same thing? The photo, the one single shot photo that came out
like
early,
a meadow or whatever in there. Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the same thing. Those were supposed to be the dwarves. Those were like an idea of like the dwarfs for like
that was the thinking at the time, but
yes.
Those are actual like characters, I guess, in the movie.
Interesting. Like background.
I don't fucking know. But yeah, no, like the first promotional, no, because even before those pictures came out, it was the first promotional thing about it was Rachel and Gal on like some sort of carpet or whatever doing an interview where it's like, "Oh, we're not gonna make it as like the man, saves a woman, he's kind of a stalker, it's kind of weird." And it's like,
yeah,
all that bullshit.
weird. Well, and so here's the news. Disney executives can't control Rachel Zegler. So an insider's told Page 6, Disney has tried multiple times to get Zegler to tone down her controversial statements, but she has refused to comply. Disney's lead actress is out of control, the movie insider said. They don't know what to do. She's an outspoken 20-something, and Disney chiefs have called her directly and asked her to tone down her posts. They've called her management, but she won't listen.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like, she's a dumb early 20s. I think she's 23 or whatever, living in Hollywood. What the fuck do you expect her to do or think? It's like, she's going to be dumb. She's going to be outspoken on social media because social media is everything.
And the best thing about this is that it's not a lesson to be learned for them. They are not going to stop hiring stupid people to play roles.
No, you know how they hire people? BT Dubs, this came out from, I think, Maya Hawke, Ethan Hawke's daughter, is that they're hiring people based on followers on Instagram.
Well, there you go. Disney turning to influencers instead of press. With Zegler proving to be a PR nightmare, Disney has apparently made the decision to skip traditional press interviews, instead rely on successful or carefully selected influencers to help shape the film's publicity. Disney is leaning towards having influencers interview Rachel and Gal for promotion days on Monday and Sunday. An industry insider told Page 6 they want to concentrate on the content. First off, no, they don't want to concentrate on the content. We don't have to take that at face value. That's not true. Now, but the influencer thing makes a lot more sense now, since it appears like if they want to turn away from traditional media, where they go to influencers, and they can use that for their casting. They can use that for their press. They can manipulate a lot harder with money, sweet money. Plus, it's probably cheaper. I bet interacting with popular influencers is probably cheaper than going to mainstream news journalists setting up big major interviews and such.
My favorite thing to come out of this movie is that we got Israel and Palestine conflict in the movie itself.
Did we have a story on that? I don't think we did have a. I don't know if we did have a story on that.
Rachel Zegler has gone on social media like free Palestine or whatever, from the river to the sea, which they don't even know what that fucking means.
Yep.
And Gal Gadot is Israeli. She served in the military.
That's right.
She's done all.
Because before we sat down, I'd heard this story, but
they're
not read
not
up on it.
promoting it together at all. They've been separated.
And we got, actually, we should talk about that first because Disney, nope, that's the wrong one. Okay, yeah, so mainstream media continues to blame fans and Gal Gadot for Snow White PR nightmare instead of Rachel Zegler. So I love that in one entire story, one day, they're talking about how it's Gal Gadot and the fan base's fault. First off, a fan base for Snow White feels a little bit like,
There's a fan base for Gal Gadot.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
But
very cute.
she's very pretty.
Very cute.
You're a pretty girl. Sorry, that's so fucking weird. I'm so sorry.
She's older. It's fine.
She needs the compliments. But the
She needs a cop.
So 2 months ago, the dislike ratio on the Snow White trailer was 1 million to 40,000 for dislikes to likes. Over 1 million dislikes to 40,000 likes. So take that.
You know what Disney's not getting out of this though?
What's that?
Is that people don't like the live action remakes of beloved animated movies. This one's from almost 100 years ago now.
I would
but I was against this. I think it started with The Lion King in 2019.
That sounds right.
There's been like 20 of them since then.
I know The Little Mermaid was after. I know that Tarzan was before.
Well, there's been multiple people that have done Tarzan.
Right. Because
I don't think Tarzan's a Disney property anymore. But
that's interesting. I didn't hear that.
It's like, so they made Gangbusters with The Lion King. Obviously, it did fucking phenomenal. Which annoyed the fuck out of me.
You could have put a turd on screen for an hour and a half, and it still would have made big money because people would have still bought the ticket to go give it a shot.
Yeah, it's like I've never been a fan. I haven't watched any of the live actions. Have you?
Oh yeah. So obviously I watched The Lion King. I watched the Tarzan. I watched.
How was the Lion King one?
I had good things to say about it. The issue that people have, they're stuck on the
done by Jon Favreau.
The issue that people have, it doesn't matter.
He cares about shit.
So. Right. Okay, I got you.
He's a director that cares.
I thought you were saying because he was involved, it wasn't good.
No.
But okay. So the cast choice was horrid. Jamie Oliver, Seth Rogen, Beyonce, like horrible voice acting cast. All it did was break the immersion for me. Now, if you're a kid who has no idea who people like, if you're a kid who's not paying attention, and it's your first PG movie that you're seeing, and you don't know who Seth Rogen is, and you don't know who Beyonce is.
He played Pumbaa, didn't he?
Yeah, he played Pumbaa. You don't know who Oliver is. You're probably fine. It's your first interaction. I mean, like, if you saw this before seeing the original, you probably enjoyed it. Probably enjoyed it a lot, actually. But there were the things I liked about it were that I thought the CGI looked very good on the setting. On the actual lines themselves, left a lot to be.
They went for realistic, and you can't do that when you're adapting a
cartoon
Disney film where the lines are super expressive. In there.
Yeah. The cartoon did a better job of doing expression than the CGI, which is ironic because you invest so much more money into failing. But
millions and millions of dollars.
But I would say that like the biggest issue that a lot of people criticized when it came to like the public sphere that like we're in, was they criticized the CGI, saying the CGI is bad. That's the minor point. It's not even important enough to really be the focus of criticism. The issue was the voice acting was bad. The issue was they changed lines that were pivotal. They cut out they cut out the scene of the "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" scene. They cut that out.
What?
Yeah, they cut that down. And yeah, they had Nala.
Wasn't that Elton John? You can't.
How dare you cut out a gay song?
How dare you cut out gay Elton John?
How dare you? Sexist, homophobe. But yeah,
it's because the lion gave fuck me eyes or whatever.
Yeah. It's like watching two robots try to fall in love. I don't know.
No, that song's iconic, man.
It was. So, but then they also made like Beyonce, Nala just totally bitchy. Like a lot of the time she was like snarky and like really God. They weren't. Yeah, it was very, very, very far away from feeling like the same characters from the original movie. As someone who, you're not going to beat me on this, no one's going to beat me on this because I, like The Lion King.
Challenge accepted.
The Lion King was the first film I ever watched. Like the first film I ever watched.
It came out when I was born. I watched it in the womb.
I saw that film when it was being developed, I was being developed. Like we developed at the same time.
We were both being developed at the same time.
We were both lions from different worlds. So yeah, the setting felt very good. The setting looked good. Like the CGI made the scenes of the African scenes, the background look really beautiful. I liked that. I don't think they did their best I don't think they did what they could do to remain good faith adaptation to the original version. I think the CGI did make the lions look really bad. So yeah, I would say that The Lion King had a lot of problems, but I think that the critics were focusing on CGI when the other elements of like how the characters feel compared to the first one, how the voice actors did, the lines they took and changed or removed entirely. They were focusing on way the wrong thing.
Did they have that Hitler song with Scar and the hyenas?
I can't remember. I think so. I'm pretty sure that was in there, but I think I'm not remembering correctly.
Well, it's like we're 6 years past that, and they've done multiple remakes.
Mm-hmm.
They did Aladdin, which I don't really give a fuck. They've butchered one of my favorite ones of all time.
Mulan. Yeah, Mulan. I know
that one pissed me off. I was like,
you have every reason to be pissed off.
No way I'm gonna fucking watch this. And it's like, oh, we're gonna thank the Uyghur camps that we filmed in.
Jeez. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and I think between we're 6 years past like the start of we're gonna make every beloved animated movie that we had into live action. We're 6 years past that, so there's a little bit of hate going on there with the Snow White. And then also you got the actresses being complete bitches, and the removal or changing of story, because like she's not fair as in fair of skin. She's fair as in she's the most fair person. Like everything's communist, I guess. Yeah. It's like everyone gets everything. It's like, who's the most fairest of them all? And it's like, oh, Snow White's pretty fair. She's been treating these dwarves like they're commie puppets.
Yeah. Everyone gets something.
Everyone gets a slice of bread.
Everyone gets a hamburger and fries.
Get in line.
Extra large. Everybody gets the extra large fries.
There are no extra large anymore.
Everyone gets an apple. You get an apple. You get an apple.
As long as they're not tariffed.
So the Dragon of Gal Gadot in the controversy. So while Zegler has done plenty to stir controversy, THR bizarrely tries to place some of the Snow White blame on Gal Gadot as well. This seems as though it could be some kind of media marching order, as just a day before Variety, Mark Malkin made a similar push. Unlike Zegler, who has gone out of her way to antagonize. Jesus Christ.
So I wasn't even looking. I was like, what the fuck are you saying?
She's gone out of her way to antagonize the fan base. Gadal's only so-called controversy is her insertion that she's a proud Jewish woman and sharing support for her home country of Israel while receiving an award for the Anti-Defamation League. Yeah, probably. I mean, that's really...
Yeah, it's kind of weird to have your co-star being like, no, we want to kill all the Jews.
Yeah, that's my favorite story.
I'm a 23-year-old and I know it's right.
Yeah, it's...
I know everything about this 1,000-year-old conflict.
So all of the drama comes from Rachel Zegler, basically. Do you think this show... Okay, let's step back for a moment. Take our own position out of this. Like, just try to look at it from the holistic view of the market. Do you think that outside of Rachel Zegler's comments, outside of the pop culture sphere of the internet, like addressing, reading up, being informed, speaking on it, and all of those criticisms of it, do you think that with a successful marketing campaign that this movie could do well? And again, I want to be like as unbiased as possible. You and I think like bad of this film.
I mean, money, like mathematically wise, no, it's not going to make money, period.
Okay.
Because it's been shelved for like 2 years now, I want to say, because of the controversy. And then the marketing's just expanded since then. So I want to say like the marketing's even ballooned above the ridiculous budget to make the movie. It's like, there's no way in hell this movie will be successful. I think there's like no one, I don't think anyone really gives a fuck about these Disney
Classic
movies anymore.
I think that has a lot to do with Disney as a company. And I mean, the movies themselves, yeah, the movies themselves are flops. So I wanted to try to like good faith at this,
We
but
should,
you are right.
When this comes out, we should just like hover over our theater's like attendance.
Just look at the map and see what how seats are open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so you can have like a anecdotal kind of like, yeah, no one went to see this or everyone went to see this kind of thing.
Yeah. One more story related to this. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Snow White actor admits Disney scaled back movie premiere due to fear of Rachel Zegler controversies, criticizes the dwarf changes, but repeats the studio's revisionist history. It's, yeah, so they had to, this is a story that broke, that they had to dial back the premiere because people were concerned that it was going to flop at the premiere, and Rachel Zegler was just going to create more problems.
I like how the blame's been all on her.
That's a good point. Like, the studio has a lot to say or to be like criticized for as well.
There's controversy with her. There's controversy with the dwarves. There's controversy of the remakes. There's plenty of controversy.
Yeah, this movie was a bad idea. Okay, actually, here's I think a really good question. Do you think that in a okay, starting fresh, let's say it's 2005. Let's say it's 2005. Do you think that before the culture war became super mainstream and we had a lot of the movies we have today and a lot of the comparisons, it's before Disney has the culture war position that they have today. Do you think that there would have been, with good directing, a decent cast, and an actual good intent, that there would have been some merit to the argument that live actions would be a good idea, a new medium for telling the story?
Back then, yes, because creators in Hollywood actually cared. Like, there's what's that fucking Cinderella movie that came out that people actually fucking enjoyed? There was a live action remake of Cinderella, and this was early on before. When the fuck did it come out?
I'm thinking about the idea is that, like, the idea behind the question is, if there is a merit to the argument that good live action remake of a movie can be made if you have passionate creators behind it who care about the source material, who care about doing a good job on it, and they don't like neutralize the political arguments and just get your actors to be like just act.
Well, it's like I still like my favorite Disney movies are like Mulan, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes, I rewatched that again the other month.
Hercules. Like, I don't want them
live action remade.
Even like back in the day where it's like we got, say it's done competently, I still wouldn't want to see a live action of them. Is
this a boomer position though? Because here's my thought. It's probably the same argument that was made for
2015 is when the Cinderella one that people actually liked came out.
Okay. This is probably the same argument people made for like why the books and stuff should not be turned into films at all. Right? Like, people who are like, we love these original stories, we don't think they're going to be done well on film. That's probably the same argument.
Well, I mean, you get like, say when it comes to like anime and whatnot, you basically like a show and then you deep dive into like basically going to the ending and getting all the spoilers, but you still enjoy watching how it's adapted.
Just a friendly reminder, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. It is free. It's the best way to show your support and to help us grow. You can also always change your mind later. And if you haven't already, smash that like button to help us reach further out into that YouTube algorithm. Comment your thoughts on the video so far below. And if you haven't already, go check out the merch store. Links in the description. Got a lot of cool stuff in there. I think you guys are really going to enjoy. With that out of the way, let's get back to the video. I think
so you have a better position on this than I do.
I think you're right. I mean, I like having multiple varieties of the same medium and the same story. And a lot of that comes from, there's things you lose out in every medium. So when you have books, you can be as detailed as you want. You have no real restrictions that come at you from the real world. It's teleprompter meets page. Or not teleprompter, typewriter meets page, and then you just create the book with your unlimited imagination. You can be as detailed as you want. In film, you have the limitations of modern technology. You can't get everything that's in your head on the screen. So there is something you miss from a movie. but then you also gain something back from the movie in the form of like the visuals hold your hand and walk you through it, and you're not working as hard and you're enjoying the story maybe a bit more if it's told well. So, and all of this assumes that every version of the medium is being told in its best possible light, but and then you have manga. Like, so you're right with anime. I will watch an anime that's based on a manga, and then I will read back to the manga while I'm enjoying the show, or maybe even ahead of the show, and like enjoy the manga the whole time while I am like just like seeing that unveil on screen. I'm under the impression I'm a pretty rare duck when it comes to that, though. I'm under the impression most people do not like the manga spoiling the show or the show adapting the manga.
Right. Well, like when it came to like My Hero, which we'll talk about maybe in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I what it was like season 4 or whatever. You're like, I already know how this thing fucking ends.
Yeah.
It's like we got 4 seasons to go. Dude.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
You did the same with Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
You knew the ending. It's like I don't know how you get into that mindset where it's like, all right, I like this show. I'm gonna spoil the fuck out of myself.
It's sort of like, well, first off, there's
more
no
interested in the story, I guess, than anything else.
Well, so Attack on Titan there's a better argument for spoilers being bad in Attack on Titan than My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is a shonen. There are no spoilers. There is no way to be spoiled. You know the ending of every shonen. Every character that main character likes or is fond of or is a quote unquote friend is going to survive.
Bakugo doesn't stay dead
and make it to the end. Well, he's
currently being revived right now.
Yeah, he's being revived right now.
He's being revived for the past year.
So shonens are one thing where it doesn't matter what you know about the shonen, it's still going to unveil, and the thing that makes a shonen awesome is the adaptation, the visuals, the animation, the fight scenes, the way the voice actors portray it. There's a lot you do not get from a manga, like as far as like representation. Like you do not get you do not hear the voice of the character. You do not see the movement flow in its best form as you do on like television. So
it's like, have you read books after watching the movie or show or whatever?
Most no, but I would say Tolkien. Like Tolkien's universe, as soon as like after.
Who you see in those books are who you saw on screen, right?
Okay, so Peter Jackson's trilogy, mostly, almost all of them. I really miss that we did not get Bill the Pony. He did not get.
What'd you call me?
Bill the Pony in Lord of the Rings. But I'm making a joke. But
is that like Build a Bear? But it's
you're up to speed on the Tolkien lore. You know who Bill the Pony is.
I know a bit.
Okay,
not as much as you do.
Bill the Pony comes from Bag End with Sam and helps them all the way through their journey and such. And then he gets scared away at the Watcher when they go into Moria. When they're by the Watcher. So in Peter Jackson's,
literally the fucking pony.
Yeah, literally the fucking pony. Bill the Pony is a hero. Oh, we got who we got? Ian. Sorry, but I do my best. Keep going, guys. You will make it one day. 1010 commentary, dude. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the love and support, buddy.
But like when it comes to like me, so I've only read I think one book before seeing the movie. Mm-hmm. And that was Dan Brown's Inferno, Da Vinci Code, Angels, Demons. I read Inferno before that movie came out, and I couldn't make it 10 minutes into that movie before I was like, this is fucking shit, man.
But no, so like with Tolkien, like after Lord of the Rings, after Hobbit, after the video games that come out, and people were telling me, like, I had not read the books until this point, and I was looking at Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, and I was like, this is kind of bizarre and silly. Like, what am I missing here? I know that they messed with Ghost in Peter Jackson's trilogy. I know they messed with monsters and trolls in all the projects. And Hobbit was kind of bizarre, and like wargs could talk and shit. So I was starting to be like, what is actually the rules of this universe? What is Tolkien's original vision? And so I read The Hobbit, then I read The Lord of the Rings, then I read The Children of Húrin, The Silmarillion, Fall of God. Like I read all of them. Beren and Luthien was actually the last one I read, and I was holding out because I was told that one, like in your read list, you should read Beren and Luthien last. And holy shit, dude. Rings of Power came out the same year I finished reading out on the Tolkien like read list. And
That's a horrible coincidence.
I was infuriated. I was genuinely offended and pissed off. And the main one thing that pissed me off the most was there are about 20, 30 major, and there's a lot of them, but major YouTube channels that focus on Tolkien lore. And like 10 of them got brought out to the UK.
They got the gift baskets. They got flown out to watch the premiere, so they're gonna show for them.
Exactly. And they, like, some of them haven't stopped. Hey, dude, really appreciate you subscribing, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Hey, we are paying attention to the chat. If you got any questions on the topics we're going through, or if there's something you want to throw out, feel free. I'll do my best to read it out. So on Rings of Power, yeah, the Tolkien YouTubers I was following, so many of them went on that trip, came back, and they were singing, oh, you got to give it a shot. It's like, they were singing kind of like a mild tune. They weren't saying it's the greatest film ever. They were saying it's a good faith adaptation. We have good reason to suspect that these guys are going to be faithful to the lore. We brought up our concerns to them, and they heard us out. And then the first episode of the fast forward like a year.
Brought up the concerns means nothing when watching a premiere because the whole show is already done.
Yeah. So, and exactly. And so the first episode comes out. I'm watching Galadriel and
Guy Ladriel.
And what an abomination. That show is. There's not a. Okay. Someone brought this up to me the other day on Rings of Power. They said, hey, have you watched Rings of Power? I really like that show. It's really good. I was like, you like it? Why? What about it do you like? And he's like, I love that it's more Lord of the Rings stuff. I was like, that has nothing to do with Tolkien's universe. It's a complete fan fiction made into a TV show.
It's
$1 billion
elves and dwarves. And it's like, therefore,
I kept going. I was like, it's $1 billion nightmare. The show has a huge drop off season 1 to season 2. And I asked him, I was like, what do you like about the show? And then his response was, who's Tolkien? Like, what the actual? I wanted to punch him out. I wanted to, but I am a very reserved person who does not say
my sister just said that she was watching Rings of Power and was enjoying it, and I almost hit her.
The person I was talking to had no idea who Tolkien was. He just liked that Lord of the Ring was on the cover of the box. That's all. There was nothing else there's nothing in that show to like. The acting
quality. Did he also wear a dress?
No, he did not. But man, where was I going with that? The Rings of Power debacle is an absolute travesty, and it's going to happen with every IP that gets touched by a major corporation.
It's like, all right, so
think Amazon with James Bond. That is doomed. James Bond is fucked royal. There is not, like, especially
are there any other, like, all right, no, there are. I know for you it's like reading, watching, knowing the source material.
Halo.
And then I was just gonna say that. And then someone comes out with this adaptation of it.
Yep.
Fallout's a good example for me too, because I love Fallout a long time before that show came out.
There's really mixed reviews on Fallout. Some people really liked it. A lot of people
positive than anything, and I don't like it. There's that excuse that goes around where it's like, it's Fallout. It's supposed to be weird and dumb. It's like, no. You can be smart about it. It doesn't have to be dumb because there are some quirky things that happen.
Right.
But like I want to get to, like, I'm reading, one of my favorite shows of all time is The Expanse.
Oh, I fucking love that show.
And I'm reading all the books. I'm like on 5 or something right now.
Hard recommend to anyone listening. It's The Expanse is an amazing show, and
it's better books.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing, right?
No.
Most are better. Most books are better than most shows.
1 through 3 are almost like scene for scene, kind of like just we're adapting the book just insanely. And that was 1 through 3 books, and 1 through 3 seasons were a 1-for-1, and that was done through Sci-Fi. The Sci-Fi Channel. I don't know if you guys know about this. There was a channel called Sci-Fi.
No, yeah, I knew that, but I did not know the show was on Sci-Fi before it was on Amazon.
It was on Sci-Fi, and then they canceled it. And then there were,
I did not know that,
a fuckload of people just like begging Bezos to buy. It's basically like today's age is like, Elon, please buy this thing I love so you can fix it.
Hasbro.
It was basically the same thing, only for Bezos.
Yeah.
And Amazon bought it, and the 4th book is drastically different. I mean, 3, there's characters that aren't in the show that are in the books, and then kind of departures from there.
Mm-hmm.
to where like Amazon's kind of getting their foothold and they're just doing their own thing, like killing off Alex and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's like there's an example to where like so Inferno, Dan Brown, I read it and then watched the movie, fucking hated it.
Mhm.
I watched all of it, Expanse, and then going back and reading it, and I'm loving it, and I'm actually like comparing the adaptation into my mind and whatnot, and I'm seeing the characters that were on screen and whatnot. And it's good. So there are levels of like
Good faith.
adaptations and whatnot, and it's like when you're going to, so that's from like book to show or book to screen, I'll say.
Yeah.
Book to screen. It's vastly different. You're going to get different amounts. But this and what Disney's doing with all this shit is you're going from screen to screen. And so you're adapting something that's from a fable or whatever you're adapting. Put it on screen as an animated movie. Everyone loved it. And now you're adapting that adaptation and ends up just referencing itself. This is the problem that Star Wars has.
Oh, Star Wars is, yeah. Yep. That's actually, whenever you want to have this conversation about good faith adaptation and people are like, why do you care? Why do you care if it's lore accurate or not? All you have to do is point to Star Wars and just say, they killed the most American and most successful cinema franchise that has ever been created by any metric, even across time. There has not been a single franchise, a single work of art or history that has done more for culture than Star Wars has. And they have doomed it. Every movie now, every show is a financial disaster / flop. Everything is a woke or DEI like total message to the audience, and it's just it's not even fan fiction. It's like anti-fan fiction, where they're just people who hate the Star Wars franchise are getting their hands on the wheel.
Well, I kind of got into this idea of, funnily enough, there's a Rick and Morty episode of it's the clones, where it's like, oh, they killed the clone family or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. And so like,
are we a clone family?
Yeah. So there's iterations of each one, and each one gets shittier and shittier. So it's like book to film. It's like it can be good, it can be bad, whatever. But you're adapting something from an adaptation of an adaptation, and it just gets shittier and shittier and shittier.
Right. Because I think like even Lion King, right? Like Lion King has, let's work it backwards. You have the Mufasa movie that just came out this December for Christmas. Then you have which
no one watched.
Right.
I forgot about it.
Then you have the live action original movie. Then the original live action movie. Then you have the sequel, the Timon and Pumbaa 1.5 or whatever. Then you have then you have the original.
Then you have like Kimba or whatever from Japan.
Kimba. Then that was based on the White Lion.
That's the one I was talking about.
Which and all of I don't know where the middle ground is. Like I'm gonna jump back pretty far after this one. All of this is a variant of Hamlet. It's like all of this is just a variant of Hamlet, and then that is probably I would expect that Hamlet is I don't know. Maybe Hamlet is an original story, but I would suspect.
I doubt it at this point.
But that's what or it's an amalgamation of multiple stories that are brought into one that tells a really beautiful dramatic story. I mean, I'm not shitting on Shakespeare here.
Well, I mean, you got the Lion King that's adapted from Hamlet, and you also got the Northman. You remember that the Viking movie? Yep. That's also adapted from Hamlet. It's
then you have
how do you compare those two?
But even then, you have Hamlet.
Vastly different.
But then you have Hamlet 2. The sequel, like Hamlet 2 is way better than the first movie. It's one of the few examples of a sequel being better than the original.
Did it have a first movie, or was it just Hamlet 2?
Hamlet 2 is just the name of the movie, based on, and it's the idea, the premise of the movie is that the main character of the film wants to create a sequel to Hamlet, which already had a conclusory ending. So it was already done. There was nothing else to do.
I think we're the only two people that have watched that movie because I've never heard it referenced by anyone ever.
Hamlet 2 is one of the best comedies that's ever been made. And it's an actor that people recognize from Tropic Thunder. It's like the director from Tropic Thunder is the main character for Hamlet 2.
The guy that plays the director of Tropic Thunder.
Fair enough. It's too meta to like get those right.
No, he's well known in the UK, but in the US now.
Hamlet 2, strong recommend. It's hilarious. It's a great comedy. We should move on to another story. Let's finish this one up by saying Snow White next week, or I think it's next week or the week after.
No one cares.
It's going to be like it's going to be a bloodbath. This movie is going to be wrecked. I have no idea what the budget for it is. Do you have the numbers for the estimated budget for the film?
I mean, it's pre-release. It's very much up to what the studio says it is. So
Right.
I don't even know.
We might not have a valid number for that. What would you guess? Would you say 2 million or 200 million?
My personal guess for the budget of this movie, pre-marketing,
Yeah.
I would say 250 to 250.
250
I'm not
million?
gonna leave that big of a
Okay.
gap there.
That's a big number.
Because they've had to do
Reshoots.
It's
It's almost all CGI.
CGI fucking
Well, and then,
dwarfs because Peter Dinklage is an asshole that pulled up a ladder behind him and he's like, hey, you can't cast dwarves or anything.
they probably have 5 million just into PR management alone. Like they probably have like a $10 million, $20 million
Dude, the PR
contract with PR management right now. That's failing hard.
Imagine the money that PR's getting. It's like,
Dude,
oh, yeah.
And they're getting money to fail. Like everyone just gets rich off absolute failure. It's like the PR team is not managing this well at all.
failing up, man. That's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's get the shitty actors to say some dumb shit, and then a PR company will fucking clean up.
Well, and it's weird that it is really bizarre that most of these studios are like they'll tell a news
Oh shit!
what?
It's got to be way more than I guess then, because the reported budget is 240.
Oh shit!
It's got to be like 350, dude.
What's the source on that? Like what article?
We got Variety,
Okay.
Movie Web, Yahoo.
I mean,
Yahoo.
Variety gets a lot of exclusives with Disney. So 240 is probably that's probably the low.
reported budget.
That's the
I
reported
can't
budget.
believe they fucking.
That's pre PR team. That's pre marketing. That's pre theater licensing. That's all of it.
I like how
That's-
there's world. What was it? World of Real. There's like Snow White budget is probably well over $300 million. It's like, yeah, no shit. If they reported 240, you can tack on another 100.
Well, we know that Captain America is ridiculously high, but the reported budget for that was 220.
No, the reported budget for Captain America is 180.
Well, was it? Okay. I defer to
And
you.
they
You probably-
adjust it later and later, and it keeps
Right.
on going up because people got to file taxes, and therefore you get the
I love.
actual number.
Can I just ask? I would love for like the next big move from Trump to be like, hey, we're gonna go look at all these major Hollywood studios who just keep lying on their tax forms over $100 million projects or multi-$100 million projects. We're gonna go get some of that money. We're gonna go.
So
I'm not pro audit.
is-
I'm not pro tax, but I'm just gonna say if you are in an entire state that is basically the how far can we go with taxes state, you don't really get to call me a hypocrite if you don't want to pay your taxes properly. So just saying.
well, this is kind of mind blowing because, like, the reshoots and whatnot regarding Snow White aren't that like well known or anything. Everyone knew about reshoots and whatnot when it came
Yeah.
to Captain America. And they report 100. So this movie costs $60 million reportedly more
Than
than
Captain America. And I had not heard anything about reshoots for this film. That is a new thing for me.
Well-
I've not heard that yet.
Yeah, I've heard like CGI and dwarves and shit all the time, but
Yeah.
that's fucking insane that they reported it as that much. I thought they would lie better.
I thought, yeah. They
Lie better.
do better, Senator. You got to do better, Disney. All right, we do have to move on to other stories. We got other topics we got to talk about. So let's jump into the next one. This one's going to be fun. I am actually excited to talk about this one. This could be good. All right, let's move
This
it.
one might piss me off.
We'll do our best to piss you off, Cody. That's what we're here for.
I tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life.